We're counting down 10 of the strangest facts hidden in the history of the 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. From factory defects that now expose fakes, to parts borrowed from a rival General Motors division, to a corporate deception that fooled the insurance industry for years. These are not the usual muscle car talking points. Each reveals something Buick either hid deliberately or never expected anyone to find. The fact at number 1 held an American production car record for over 30 years. Let's begin with number 10, and the only 2 colors this car was ever allowed to wear. In 10th place, the 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 set itself apart before the engine ever turned over by limiting buyers to only 2 factory colors. Saturn Yellow, with its unmistakable S6 paint code, accounted for 398 of these cars. Apollo White, stamped A4 on the official tag, covered the remaining 280. These numbers aren't guesswork. They appear on the original factory order manifest and are confirmed by the GSX Stage 1 registry, which matches each VIN to its build sheet. Inspecting a genuine GSX means checking the paint code tag hidden in the trunk latch or the plate on the inner door jamb. If the tag does not say S6 or A4, or if the color does not match the code, authenticity is immediately in doubt. This color-only restriction became a marketing tool in period magazines, and today it serves as the first forensic checkpoint for collectors. Before examining stripes or mechanicals, color and code set the baseline for every real 1970 GSX Stage 1. Number 9. The GSX Stage 1's side stripes hide a subtle clue that separates an untouched original from a well-meaning restoration. Early production cars left the Flint assembly line with a visible misalignment between the upper and lower portions of the GSX graphics, about 1.5 inches off at the seam near the door panel. This was not a one-off mistake. Period photographs and auction catalogs document the offset as a recurring trait, not a fluke. When the stripes were applied by hand in a single pass, the masking tape would sometimes shift, leaving a staggered seam that only the most detail-driven judges would notice. Today, this tiny flaw has become a gold standard for authenticity. Under the clear coat of the original stripe tape, a micro-embossed batch code is pressed into the vinyl, so faint it takes a magnifying glass to spot. Restorers sometimes remove or replace these stripes to achieve perfect alignment, but in doing so they erase the factory's fingerprint. For collectors, the combination of a visible offset and a matching embossing code is a forensic marker that no modern repaint can replicate. 8th place, the 1970 Buick GSX. Stage 1 hides a Pontiac secret right on its hood. Early production models, specifically the first 20 cars built before July 1st, 1970, rolled out with a tachometer borrowed straight from the Pontiac GTO Judge. Factory memos dated May 13th and May 22nd, 1970, confirm the swap. Buick engineers, facing a tooling delay, submitted a requisition for Pontiac's part number 254T, also cataloged as PT212. This was not just a quick fix, it became a built-in time capsule. The Pontiac tachometer features a distinct red needle and a metal housing stamped with its original part code, a detail that survives on unrestored examples. Later GSXs received a Buick-branded tachometer, making the Pontiac unit a rare marker for the earliest cars. For collectors, that housing stamp is the forensic clue. Check the serial number on the tachometer, and you can date a GSX's build sequence to the first weeks of production. It is an odd footnote in GM's parts sharing playbook, but today, spotting an original Pontiac tachometer on a GSX is like finding a factory signature in plain sight. Number 7. The GSX Stage 1's chassis reveals an engineering choice hidden to most eyes, a boxed perimeter frame originally designed for Buick convertibles. Unlike the open channel frames used on standard hardtops, this boxed structure encloses the steel rails on all 4 sides, dramatically increasing torsional rigidity. Buick's own service manual from 1970, pages 12 and 13, diagrams the boxed frame's cross-section, and an internal engineering memo dated April 4, 1970, signed by Chief Chassis Engineer Harold Klein, authorizes its use for the Stage 1 package. The memo cites the need to control chassis flex under the engine's 510 pound-feet torque rating, ensuring the car could handle aggressive launches without twisting the body out of alignment. For those inspecting a real GSX, the authenticity check is found under the car. A stamped code often reading BFR 1970-01 appears on the inner side of the front crossmember. This stamp links the chassis to its convertible grade origins and serves as a forensic marker for restorers. The boxed frame's hidden strength set the foundation for the GSX's legendary straight-line stability, preparing the car for the heavy-duty hardware found at the rear, including the unique trunk assist torsion bar. Number 6. The GSX Stage 1 trunk assist torsion bar stands as a mechanical fingerprint hidden in plain sight. The heavy rear spoiler, a defining feature of the GSX, created a practical problem. Its weight was enough to slam the trunk lid shut, making it difficult to open and keep raised. Buick's solution was not just a stiffer spring, it was an entirely unique torsion bar, thicker by 30% and 2 inches longer than the standard part used on other A-body cars. The 1970 GM parts catalog under the suspension rear section lists this as part number 9832223 for the complete trunk assist assembly, but the bar itself carries a cast number 9832224 stamped right into the metal. That casting number, visible only when the bar is removed, is the hard proof collectors seek to confirm originality. Service Bulletin SB 7845, issued years later, specifically warns dealers to install the GSX only bar on any Stage 1 car with the factory spoiler, citing instability at speeds above 80 miles per hour if the standard bar was used. The bolt hole pattern on the bar matches the boxed convertible grade frame, another GSX signature. For anyone verifying a true GSX, spotting the 9832224 stamp on the torsion bar is as close as it gets to a factory signature, an overlooked detail that separates genuine hardware from reproduction kits and ensures the trunk lid stays open, no matter how heavy the spoiler. Number 5. The GSX Stage 1's speedometer tells a story that is both odd and revealing. Buick fitted the car with a 120 miles per hour speedometer, but the factory calibration allowed the needle to sweep well past the last number. In the October 1970 road and track test log, drivers recorded the needle disappearing beyond the 120 miles per hour mark, only flattening out around 123 miles per hour. This was not a misprint or a single fluke. Buick's own service bulletin from July 1970 instructed dealers to set the gauge 2% high, giving the car a built-in margin for high-speed runs. The result was, at full throttle, the needle would vanish behind the bezel, leaving only the driver's sense of speed and a rising tachometer as guides. Survivors today show a telltale sign, microscopic wear between the 115 and 120 miles per hour marks, a subtle groove that formed from repeated needle sweeps during hard use. Inspectors and collectors now use this pattern as a forensic cue. A GSX with a perfectly mint speedometer face, or one where the needle never left the scale, raises red flags about its authenticity. This buried needle phenomenon not only hints at the car's true speed, it also connects the driver's experience with a physical trace left on the instrument cluster, a kinetic artifact that links the GSX legend to the real world. Number 4. A dragstrip showdown in July 1985 gave the Buick GSX Stage 1 its most decisive real-world validation. Car Review magazine pitted a stock 1970 GSX Stage 1, unaltered, with 39,600 miles on the odometer, against a factory-fresh 426 Hemi. The event took place at Gardner Murray dragstrip under mild, dry conditions, with Bob Turbo Turner piloting the Buick. The official timing slip, later reproduced in the magazine's October issue, recorded a blistering 12.3 seconds elapsed time at 112 miles per hour for the GSX. The reaction time, a razor-sharp 0.09 seconds, left the Hemi trailing with a 12.45-second pass. Turner later described the launch as brutal, crediting the GSX's instant low-end pull for the victory. Crew chief notes from the Hemi team conceded that the Buick's 60-foot time made all the difference, translating torque into a lead that never faded down the quarter mile. The original timing sheet, stamped and filed with the car's documentation, remains a prized artifact among GSX collectors. For many, this 1985 head-to-head stands as the ultimate proof that Buick's performance claims were more than just marketing, delivering a victory on record against one of the most feared engines of the era. Coming to the top three, Buick's horsepower claim for the GSX Stage 1 reads like a masterclass in corporate sleight of hand. The 1970 sales brochure, still cited in collector circles, boldly lists the Stage 1 at 360 horsepower, a figure that kept insurance agents and safety regulators at bay. But behind the scenes, the National Hot Rod Association used a different math. Their factor table for that year multiplied Buick's declared number by 1.2, placing the GSX at a 432 horsepower class rating, well above the 400 mark. Internal General Motors correspondence, now archived at the Heritage Center, shows Buick's compliance team submitting the 360 horsepower figure while openly acknowledging the NHRA adjustment in letters to racing officials. The result was that Stage 1 owners often found a 400 horsepower sticker on the driver's door, a quiet nod to the car's true status in NHRA competition. For insurance purposes, the 360 horsepower number kept premiums manageable, falling just under the higher cost bracket. Yet on the drag strip and in the pits, the GSX was officially factored as a much faster machine. Period road tests and Motor Trend's own quarter-mile logs confirm that no showroom stock 360 horsepower car was running 13.3-second passes at over 105 miles per hour. Survivors today still show the original powertrain tag under the hood, listing both the 360 horsepower claim and a hidden NHRA factor notation that matches the VIN. For anyone authenticating a GSX, the presence of a 400 horsepower sticker, the brochure scan, and the NHRA factor sheet form a paper trail as revealing as any mechanical inspection. Buick's sandbagged horsepower rating didn't just game the system, it created a dual identity, letting the GSX play both the insurance-friendly sleeper and the track-dominating supercar, all on the strength of a few numbers and a well-placed memo. In second place, the GSX Stage 1's quirks become more than collector trivia. They form a step-by-step checklist for verifying authenticity. For anyone considering a purchase or restoration, this forensic guide turns 9 oddities into a practical workflow. The process begins with the vehicle identification number and engine code. The build sheet must confirm the 455U engine and the GSX-S1 option, both of which are non-negotiable starting points. Next, the paint tag comes under scrutiny, only S6 for Saturn Yellow or A4 for Apollo White, as stamped on the trunk latch or inner door jamb. The side stripes demand close inspection, with a staggered seam and a faint micro-embossed batch code beneath the clear coat, both details that signal factory originality. Moving forward, the tachometer serial number and housing stamp are checked against early production records, revealing whether it is a rare Pontiac GTO part or the later Buick-specific unit. Underneath, the boxed convertible-grade frame must carry a BFR 1970-01 stamp on the cross member, while the trunk assist torsion bar needs the 9832224 casting visible on the metal itself. The speedometer is not just cosmetic, microscopic wear between 115 and 120 miles per hour tells a story of real use, not reproduction. For the final mechanical touch, a review of the original timing slip when available, confirms the car's performance history, especially if it matches the odometer reading from period dragstrip events. Paperwork rounds out the inspection. Look for the presence of a powertrain tag listing both the 360 horsepower claim and the hidden NHRA factor, a 400 horsepower insurance sticker, and a chain of documentation linking the car to its original build. Each checkpoint cross references a specific oddity, creating a matrix that separates genuine GSX Stage 1 cars from clever imitations. For collectors, this checklist is not just a formality, it is the difference between a legend and a look-alike, and the last stop before confronting the car's record-setting torque. And finally, in first place, 510 pound-feet of torque. The 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1's torque rating was not just a number on a brochure, it was a figure that defined an era. Factory documentation, preserved in the GM Heritage Collection, lists the Stage 1 455 cubic inch V8 at 510 pound-feet of gross SAE torque, peaking at just 2,800 revolutions per minute. That number was not a fluke or a marketing exaggeration. Dennis Manor, the lead powertrain engineer, detailed in an April 1970 memo that internal dyno runs averaged between 508 and 511 pound-feet, with the GM28 dynamometer confirming the target on a dozen production engines. The official build sheets for each GSX Stage 1 list the torque figure alongside the engine code 455U, and the dash badge in every authentic car still reads 510 pound-feet. This torque rating did not just set the Buick apart in 1970, it set a record that would stand for 33 years. No other American production car, not even the legendary Hemi Mopars or big block Chevrolets, matched the GSX's twist until the Dodge Viper SRT10 finally surpassed it in 2003 with 525 pound-feet. Independent magazine tests from Road and Track and Car and Driver corroborated the numbers, translating wheel torque readings back to crankshaft output and consistently landing within 5 to 10 pound-feet of the factory claim. The GM Heritage spec sheet, Dennis Manor's memo, and the original dyno charts, now digitized for the archival record, all point to a single, inescapable fact. The GSX Stage 1's torque was not just a spec, but a legacy. For collectors and historians, the presence of the 510 pound-feet badge, the build sheet notation, and the corroborating dyno data form an unbroken chain of evidence. In the world of American muscle, the GSX's torque reign is both an engineering triumph and a forensic signature, an achievement that crowns every oddity and quirk with a single, undeniable number. Across all 10 facts, one pattern stands out. Real muscle car legends are built as much on quirks and calculated mysteries as on raw power. The GSX Stage 1's oddities aren't just trivia. They are tools for decoding authenticity, value, and the spirit of an era. Even now, the details matter more than the badge. What's your favorite GSX oddity? Let's talk in the comments.